Ladies and gentlemen, we have more drama in Dolton. Oof, we got some good stuff. We had a town hall meeting. Things got spicy. Things got testing. We got a bunch of information that's come out. This podcast, I'm going to cover the suburb of Dolton. The Village of Dolton dips into its TIF money. Yeah, it's not TIF money, but it might as well be, right? For payroll. They have run out of money and they're freezing their credit card spending. They're capping it at $5,000 a transaction. What does this mean? Let's get into it. Here we go. Watch a little video.
You don't want to hear the truth. That's all it is. Y'all don't want to hear the truth. Sexually
Now, there were repeated disruptions and people being asked to leave in what has become a monthly ritual since the village was placed under federal investigation and is now facing multiple lawsuits. Neighbors once again calling for Mayor Tiffany Henyard to resign. Now, the board last night laid off 8 village employees, citing financial issues and limited village credit card spending. Trustees say this will now allow only the Director of Administrative Services to use the village's credit card for board-approved spending. There will also be a cap of $5,000 on any given transaction. Now, the board also voted to place Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey on administrative leave, but the board didn't explain publicly exactly why. We saw him leaving the village here just moments ago. Now, along with those financial issues, Mayor Henyard brought up paying for former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot's investigation. As we know, she's been hired to look into village finances. She'll deliver a preliminary report to the public on Thursday with her findings, and she spoke with us this morning about that report.
We've made some pretty significant progress, and we believe that it's very important for us to share that with the residents of Dolton, who for almost 2 years now have really been in the dark about what the true state of the financial condition of the village is.
Okay, so you've got Lori Lightfoot, her report, or at least some of her report is going to come out this coming Thursday. That is August the 8th. That she'll have some of her information out. I don't really know. Where's that going to go? I mean, so she divulges the information she's come up with. Okay. Which authority is then going to run with it? Because the FBI is already doing multiple probes, right? FBI is already involved. Local police, they are hopeless because they're literally on TIF's payroll, the super mayor's payroll, Tahoe TIF. And they're talking about sending back Tahoe TIF's Tahoes because they can't afford them. They are broke. They are flat ass broke. They don't have any money coming in, and they are looking at launching whatever assets they have and selling them. Dolton's dire financial situation was addressed at another fiery village board meeting on Monday night. Now, if you want to watch what that looks like, you can go to regular board meeting 8/5/2024 under Village of Dolton, and it's 3 hours, 38 minutes. And you can look at all the clips there, and you can just, spend 3 hours out of your life watching some of it is incredibly entertaining, but not for the people of Dolton. This is a living nightmare for those folks. And that's where I feel terrible, because these people, they hired TIF. They voted her in. You've got one of TIF, the super mayors, her main guy, Keith Freeman, I think it is, has been fired, but he's not going to be fired because they think he might be an FBI informant. I mean, and they don't want to take on a lawsuit of firing somebody who's an informant. So, I mean, you have just got drama after drama. In the fiery village board meeting, you've literally got like 3 different people were escorted away from the podium because they were just screaming at the mayor. And you know what? The stuff that they were saying, they were justified in stating, and they've been stating it time and time and time again. And then TIF, she just comes up with they're playing politics with you, is what she calls it. You're being bamboozled. You're being hoodwinked. You've got shenanigans being played on you. All kinds of words to kind of downplay what she feels, the mayor, the super mayor feels are political attacks on her and her leadership, because she is a glimpse of light for the Village of Dolton somehow. Yeah, ish. Officials revealed that they've had to dip into the tax increment financing. That's the TIF. That's the TIF funds they're jumping into. The tax increment financing fees to pay public sector employees to meet payroll. They will not meet payroll because they don't have enough money coming in. They've got so much going out the window, and they're blaming it on spending and mismanagement by the supermayor. They also approved layoffs of 8 village employees. Hey, we got to make cuts somewhere. We got to loosen the load. Got too many people on the payroll, don't have the funds coming in, need to sell some buildings. We need to do whatever we need to do to stay solvent because bills are not gonna get paid on top of the bills that are already not being paid. Yeah. That. So this is kind of accelerating. We're on the fast track here. Okay. You got you got Beetlejuice's report coming in hot. You've got a possible FBI informant that's being fired, not fired because of the liability with a lawsuit of fired, not fired on an FBI informant. You've got just all kinds of stuff going on. We got to fire some people that are working for the village. We fired Super Mayor's right-hand man, fired him back in July, but now we fired him from not only Township of Thornton, where Tiff is the supervisor of trustees, but he's also now been fired from the Village of Dolton here. It's unfortunate, but we have to make these decisions so that we can make payroll, Trustee Brittany Norwood said. This is what we said it would come down to. It would come down to a massive cash crunch because you got so much money going elsewhere and you can only tax the residents so much. And they will absolutely go berserk, and they are going berserk. You can see it at the meetings. The board also froze credit card spending. This means only the director or administrative services can use the village credit card on approved expenses. Only $5,000 can be spent at a time. So they are ratcheting down outflow of spending. Trustees also discussed putting a village-owned property on the market because they need to raise some cash. Sell whatever you need to. Get rid of it. Get it done. Get it moved. It was supposed to have become a Dolton police station, but the village doesn't have the money to make that happen. Not shocking. The board did not vote on possibly selling that property. Is there a big demand for small commercial properties in the Village of Dolton? I can't imagine there is, with the supermayor running around with her henchmen kind of hammering on individual businesses that may or may not be contributing to her, political campaigns, not contributing to her, just her in general. And that has been another huge storyline. The board also voted to place Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey on administrative leave, although they did not explain why. That is a big one, folks, right there. That is a big one. What do we have going on there? Why is Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey, why is he on administrative leave? Because he's in the hot seat. He's got something going on, right? There's shenanigans. Something has come down. And guaranteed, it has to do with the FBI probe. Guaranteed. They're like, hey, what about this? What about all this? Who knows what it is? Is the police force, they're being abused as far as Tiff just, having all of them, having 4 security police officers on her, literally like her personal payroll. They travel with her. Just abuse of power is allegedly what's going on. But with the police chief, if you remember who Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey is, he's the guy always running around saying, I don't want to have to throw you out of this meeting, but I will. I'll cut off your microphone. He kind of drops the hammer. And so he's on administrative leave, which is just a precursor to you're fired. So slowly they're working their way through the super mayor, the Tahoe Tiff's personnel, and they're weeding out the ones with arguably the worst against them as far as charges. Now, what's also interesting is that one of Tiff's Uncle Drew has not been charged with the R word yet for that whole deal in Las Vegas. And it doesn't sound like charges are going to come from that. It sounds like that's kind of been put to bed. It doesn't sound like anything will come of that, but Who knows, right? So during the meeting, the village's embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard ordered residents in the viewing gallery to pass through metal detectors after they'd already taken their seats. So Tiff is late. Metal detectors are not turned on. Everybody comes in. Tiff comes in. She realizes, oh, nobody went through the metal detectors because we didn't have them on. So, you guys are going to have to leave and you're going to have to come back because she's afraid somebody's got a gun in there and, whatever, right? She's afraid of that. So, and you know what? Given what has happened in the Village of Dolton, it would not be a shocking occurrence if something crazy happened, but be on time to your own board meeting. Have your security taken care of up front. When people go into a building, make sure that they've already gone through the metal detector because a lot of these are older folks. You got a lot of senior citizens in Dolton, and they don't want to have to do this drill more than once. So get your organization together, figure it out. This is just kind of one more sign of a, administration that just has zero control basically of anything. Whatever they do have control of, it appears that things are not what they seem. Things are not on the up and up, but that is all allegedly because we don't quite know yet. But when the village runs out of money and they're spending money on other stuff, doesn't look good, does it? No, it doesn't look good. So as the meeting became heated, attendees were led out. Multiple people were led out of the room. You got to go. You got to go. You can't say that stuff. It's politricks is what the super mayor refers to them as. Henyard lashed out at those investigating her as well as the media. You guys have bills on the list as it relates to political issues. And you guys know you can't use it for political bills, she said. Remember, they say we ain't got no money, but they got money for a lawyer. Remember that. That was an interesting one. Okay, that is true. That is true. But I think they're trying to stem the flow of the crazy shenanigans that have been happening in the Village of Dolton under the administration of Tiffany Henyard. So, but then we got Lori Lightfoot's investigation. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, a federal prosecutor, agreed to investigate claims. She's been doing it since April. She's been looking into stuff, digging deep. She's getting the dirt on everything going on. But then my question is, okay, once she gets that together, which authority is she going to hand it off to? Because she doesn't have any. She's, former prosecutor, former mayor. What does that leave her with? Does she have her own private, police force that goes through and is going to enforce, investigation into this and that? No, she doesn't. But I think the Village of Dolton just wanted somebody from the outside that they thought that they could trust to figure out what in the actual F is going on with our village. They know it's financial mismanagement. What does that look like? Now they hired Lori Lightfoot at $400 an hour to try and come up with some clues as to what's going on. After Lightfoot tried to speak from the crowd during June's village board meeting, they turned her mic off. In an email read during July's meeting, Lightfoot wrote she is making consistent progress digging into the accusations that Henyard misused village money. Henyard has repeatedly denied those claims. We've made some okay. So we heard what Lightfoot said. We made some pretty significant progress. Okay, you'll be getting some of the information here in a couple of days. Lightfoot called those findings sobering, but necessary. I can't wait. What else is going to come up, right? What else is going to come up? FBI is conducting an investigation of Dolton Village Hall, although they haven't elaborated on who is being investigated. No, but there seems to be a pretty consistent group of players here that are involved with shenanigans, and they are happening on the regular. How about this? 3 Dolton trustees schedule a special meeting to discuss spending freeze, layoffs, and more. So that's part of the reason the folks didn't go through the metal detector is they scheduled a special meeting before the official Village of Dolton meeting because they can never get anything done when Tiff is there because you've got all these politics And it's just crazy. So they scheduled their own meeting to, kind of go over stuff that they felt they needed to before the real meeting. So, I mean, you've literally got a couple of major storylines going on all at the same time. Dolton trustees, Henyard mismanagement may lead to layoffs. Well, they're already talking about firing 8, right? Talking about firing 8. So that is, when you're getting down to that stage, that things are just yeah, all is not well in Narnia, is it? Tiffany Henyard questioned about village spending at another contentious Dolton board meeting. Let's check out video on this super quick. There's some stuff on here that it's entertaining if nothing else.
More would have been accomplished tonight if not for various delays. At the start of the meeting, Henyard asked everyone who was already seated to get up and go through the metal detectors again. Her reasoning, they had not yet been turned on. Several agenda items were pushed off until the committee of the whole meeting, including a motion to sell 3 Chevy Tahoes and 1 Ford Expedition that trustees say will cost the village upwards of $700,000 by the end of their 5-year leases. What was approved, however, is a village credit card spending freeze. Trustees say this will allow only the Director of Administrative Services to use the village's credit card on board-approved purchases. They say there will also be a cap of $5,000 on any given purchase.
Watching as this village being ran into the ground by this woman is pissing me off.
The fact that you would even make us get up out of our chairs after we already sat down and got comfortable to even go back through a metal detector because you wasn't here on time to say that, they shouldn't have been let in. No, you should have been here to let us in.
This village deserves so much more than what it's getting. From an outsider looking in, y'all are being hoodwinked, bamboozled. That say things about me, I want you to prove it. Because, like I say, fact versus fiction.
I love Tiff's resolve. I really do. I mean, she is holding in the pocket. She knows a world of hurt is coming down on her, and yet she's sitting in there strong. She's sticking with her guns. You guys are being bamboozled. You're being politricked. And those are words that you don't typically hear coming out of a mayor, but you got politricks coming on. You're being bamboozled. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I kind of think you're pretty close. We talked last week, maybe the week before, about how all of a sudden you've got all of these kind of things coming down a pipeline. I think you're close to having a bunch of major things happen. And I think we're starting to see the trickle of them happening right now with some firings, got to let them go, major cash flow issues where they recognize, okay, we got to cut the spending. We got to cut people, and we got to get rid of the Tahoes. The lease that they signed on those bad boys was just insane because the interest rate on those leases was just through the roof. And it's because they were able to secure those leases through a hard money finance company, and they didn't have to go through board approval. And now the board is saying, yeah, we flat can't afford those. We need to sell those back. We need to sell this building. We need to fire some people. Police chief, you're done. So you're right on the forefront of some very exciting things happening in the Village of Dolton. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, because we're going to be covering them as they come in. And I'm going to have probably 3 or 4 more podcasts coming out of this one meeting, because there's a lot to cover. You got a lot going on. I'm going to be covering these in depth. Check back here. Thanks again for watching. Catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.